Yes, you guys, you see it right there. I have my own Teespring store. We got some really good deals. All t-shirts are affordable. We got something for men, women, and kids. We even got some mugs and iPhone cases. So you guys definitely check out the Teespring store. The link will be in the description of this video. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up everyone? It's Giorgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber, and I am back with another episode of Beyond Wrestling. And yeah, it's been very, challenging trying to get these done with the constant health issues I've been dealing with the sinuses and mouth pains. But that won't stop me from giving you guys the best, that I can possibly give you on this type of wrestling talk show. I don't really look at this as a podcast or anything, but it's just a wrestling talk show where we can talk wrestling and I can get you all's opinions on what's going on. And and of course I should explain for those who are new to this particular wrestling talk show what I do on here, and that is Beyond Wrestling. I talk about wrestling's past, present, and future. And so basically, and I noticed that a lot of people on here seem to like when I talk about the older wrestlers, or the stuff that we grew up watching. And so that begs the question to me right now is or for you all, that is what do you want me to talk about on this show more? Would you like for me to discuss the old school wrestling more, like some storylines that people probably don't know much about, or wrestlers that should get a little bit more spotlight that was around that time period? Or do you want me to talk about some new stuff too? Because I love talking about the older stuff, because I have more knowledge and wisdom, or whatever you want to call it, about that kind of stuff. And it'll be cool to explore some storylines that happened during that time period. That I feel like a lot of people should want to go back and watch on the WWE Network, or most likely you can find some of that stuff on YouTube as well. But and also, would you all like it where I just have a cool background and then just talk over that? I can do the screenshots like I've been doing, but I don't want to run into any copyright issues with WWE or anything like that. So, I can do them, but I have to kind of be careful about how to do those. I just want this show to be the best that it could be for you guys. And that's kind of what this episode is about. Episode 23 is more about what you guys want to see on this channel from this show. And also, I think it would be really cool if you guys could send in some questions that you would like for me to answer. It could be about anything wrestling related, and I will answer those questions on the next episode of Beyond Wrestling. So if that's something you all want to try with me on here, we can totally do that. I've seen other wrestling, talk shows or podcasts do it, like the Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, or the Grilling JR podcast, or 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff. I see them do that on there, and I love those podcasts, by the way. Those are some really good ones if you want to go and find out the more inner workings of wrestling during that time period back in the 90s and early 2000s. So definitely check that out. But yeah, I would love to do like a Q&A type of thing for you guys here, and I think it'll be very fun. And if there's a specific, dang, that word can be kind of challenging to say when you have a southern accent. But anyways, if there is a specific wrestling storyline or feud or a promo that you all would like for me to cover on Beyond Wrestling, I can do that too. And so, yeah, that's just what this episode is about. And also, I want to talk about what's currently going on in the WWE, what's going on with NXT, because they have just moved to, they're going to be now having a weekly show on the USA Network, which is very interesting because there's another wrestling promotion out there that's going to be going live on Wednesdays too. And I think you all know what that other promotion is if you've been following what's currently going on in wrestling. So, and also, I want to talk about Sasha Banks. I think, you know what, let's talk about her first because, hey, she's been made a big splash in the wrestling world today. And, man, Sasha Banks just come back with a bang. And, honestly, she took some time off because she was frustrated with how she was being booked on the show, and basically it all started when her and Bayley won the Raw Tag Team titles, and and basically they lost the belts like a month later to the Iconics, which didn't make no sense whatsoever. You gonna crown the first WWE Women's Tag Team Champions and you have them lose the belts a month later, like it kind of devalues the title, and then not only that, the titles haven't been defended that much on TV. So when you not only do you take the belts off of two of the hottest talents that you have, like Bayley and Sasha Banks, but you put them on the Icons and you don't even have the Iconics featured on TV to defend the belts. Like, I don't get that. That's very bad booking, And I'm sure there's probably other reasons as well, for why Sasha she decided to go home. I don't fault her for that. I'm glad to see her back on the talks, on Monday Night Raw and everything, and her feuding with Becky Lynch and Natalya, and I liked it. I like Sasha Banks as a heel. I really like Sasha Banks as a heel, and I feel like that's, especially if you're gonna call yourself the boss. Most bosses are not the most likable people out there. There's, of course, there are some bosses we do like, but when you call yourself the boss, you're not supposed to necessarily be 100% a babyface. I feel like you should at least be in between or a full-on heel, and I feel like that is Sasha Banks' strength right there, is as a heel in that character role. And you could tell, man, the swagger, the look on her face when she attacked Natalya and beat up Becky Lynch. That's what I like. And when you guys cannot lie, you cannot say that. Well, I'm talking about people who criticize Sasha Banks, for that matter, just to be clear. Yeah, the people that criticize Sasha Banks, you can't deny that when she comes out there through that curtain, she captivates the audience. She has you captivated from the moment she walks out. Her look, her style, her in-ring work, her character, her mic work. She has everything. She has a cool entrance theme. She ticks all the boxes of what a wrestler should be. Not just a female wrestler, but a wrestler in general. And we don't have too many wrestlers like that on the main roster that can just immediately captivate you like that. And then, so, of course, I think we're going to see her feud with Natalya. She should win. You should not have Sasha Banks losing. But at the same time, if you do have her lose by DQ, where she can't control her temper. If that's one way you can have your babyface win, but at the same time, you keep Sasha Banks booking, looking strong, and as far as booking wise. So I really like that idea, and I do think the end game should be Sasha Banks winning that Raw Women's title from Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has held the belt for a long time now, and I'm actually surprised she's kept it as long as she has, because we all probably thought that she was going to lose to Lacey Evans, or Lacey Evans. You got to say it with the southern accent, but we all thought she was going to lose it to Lacey Evans. As far as I'm concerned, she's still facing Lacey Evans at all the WWE house shows, for the Raw Women's title, obviously. So, Sasha should be the one to beat Becky Lynch for that belt. I don't know if you do it at Clash of the Champions because that's coming up. I would say if it doesn't happen at I think Clash of Champions is too soon. I think it should happen at Survivor Series because Survivor Series is a really big WWE pay-per-view, and I think a title change at that pay-per-view would really help, and I think that'll be really cool. So yeah, and also let's talk about the King of the Ring. Yes, this week we had the King of the Ring round 1, and on Monday Night Raw they kind of confused me when they had The Miz and Ricochet teaming up to face against Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. I thought that was going to be like a triple threat or a fatal 4-way type of match because they had the King of the Ring banner and everything showing, but it turns out that it wasn't. It was just a tag team matchup, and I don't think they really communicated that well. I didn't like that. It didn't make any sense to me to have your King of the Ring competitors in a tag team matchup when this is supposed to be qualifying matches to become, to determine who's going to be in the finals to win the King of the Ring. And I did not understand that booking. I didn't like that. It didn't make any sense to me, of course. You should have had The Miz versus Ricochet, or no, since they're babyface, you can't do that. You should have probably had The Miz versus Baron Corbin, had Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre, and you didn't even have to do both of those matches on Raw. You could do like 2 or 3 big qualifying matches on Raw, and I know they have stuff on SmackDown, so you can have your you have like on SmackDown, you can have like 2 qualifying matches there. And now I don't know exactly where this King of the Ring tournament is gonna, finish off at. I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if the finals are gonna be on Monday Night Raw or if they're gonna be at Clash of the Champions. I do think having it on Monday Night Raw is okay, I guess. I feel like the King of the Ring should be a WWE Network special. Like I would totally do it that way. Like you have your qualifying matches on Raw, and then one Sunday, at a big time arena at a house show, you have the King of the Ring finals at that arena, and you have it streaming on the WWE Network. Because obviously you don't want to give away all of the big time qualifying matches or the semifinals or even the finals on Raw for free. You don't want to do that. So in my opinion, I have semifinals and the finals on a King of the Ring pay-per-view, and that's how you would do it, and you crown your King of the Ring there. It'll mean more that way instead of just giving it all away and having people in random tag team matches that shouldn't be in random tag team matches. And so and I also have the bracket right here. I'm going to pull that up right now so you guys can see the bracket. Okay, so according to the bracket as of right now, which is week 1 of the King of the Ring tournament, right now the winners, we have Samoa Joe. He defeated Cesaro. Now we're gonna have Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre, which I had just mentioned. That match should have happened on Raw, especially with Raw being 3 hours. That match should have definitely been on Raw, in my opinion. I don't know why they didn't put that there. Of course, we had Cedric Alexander. He defeated Sami Zayn, and now we got The Miz versus Baron Corbin. Again, that is a match. Even if you didn't have it on there, I think they should have had that match on either SmackDown or the following Raw. Something like that. Yeah, it was just an odd booking there. And then I think on the SmackDown side, you had Elias beats Kevin Owens. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, how you not have Kevin Owens win? He didn't even win the first round of the King of the Ring tournament. That just baffling to me. I guess that, and of course, they had Shane McMahon. He helped Elias win, by the way. That booking just, it irks me. I don't get it. But anyways, you had Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy. I guess that match will be next week on SmackDown. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Right now those two are gonna be feuding with each other. Shelton Benjamin making fun of Chad Gable height and everything like that. Said he's too short to be in the King of the Ring tournament. So obviously, I think Chad Gable should win that matchup because, of course, Andrade, he beat Apollo Crews. And so Andrade's most likely, in my opinion, I think Andrade should face Chad Gable, have Andrade win. And then you should have Mustafa Ali versus Elias. You have Mustafa Ali beat Elias. So then you would have probably have in the semifinals, I would say you have I'm trying to book this right. Since Kevin Owens didn't win, Kevin Owens would have been my pick, but let's see. And then of course on this Samoa Joe, and you know what? I would have Samoa Joe versus Drew McIntyre in the semifinals. That's what I would do. Samoa Joe will face off against Drew McIntyre in the semifinals. And then of course, Cedric Alexander, he'll most likely end up facing against Baron Corbin. But here's my dream, I guess, for the finals. I will have Samoa Joe versus Mustafa Ali. That's what I would do. Or you could do Drew McIntyre versus Mustafa Ali. Either way, I think for my number one pick to win the King of the Ring would be Drew McIntyre. But if they don't go with Drew McIntyre for whatever weird reason, I would go with Samoa Joe winning the King of the Ring. But since, Drew McIntyre, he's Irish, and I think the whole King of the Ring gimmick will work really well for him. It will give him something good to do since he's not going to be going for the Universal title anytime soon. Have Drew McIntyre win the King of the Ring. Have him beat Samoa Joe in a really epic matchup. And you have that match on a WWE Network special. That's what you do. And boom, you have something special there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's pretty much my picks or whatever for the King of the Ring. How I think it might end up going, and it most likely will, because some people are gonna be in the storylines. And you know what's funny? They revealed the attacker for Roman Reigns, and it turns out that it was Eric Rowan's father. It looks like that's his father, cause he had a big long beard and everything like that. So what the hell, are they gonna have Eric Rowan's dad against Roman Reigns? It's weird what they've done with this storyline. It really is. Now, I don't have no problem with them using Eric Rowan in this in a feud with Roman Reigns, or Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan for that matter, because I really think those two guys could really benefit for something big right now. Especially Eric Rowan. I think it would really be cool if they did that. Now, if it was me, the person who would have attacked Roman Reigns would have been Luke Harper, because Luke Harper has been pretty much, he tried to get a release or whatever, but he ended up staying. I would have Luke Harper be the one that tried to run down Roman Reigns, and then the reasons for him doing it storyline wise would be due to him being frustrated with not being featured on either Raw or SmackDown. So I would totally do that. And then you can have Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns, and it'll be something good. Even if Luke Harper loses, at least give him something to do instead of him just being at the house. So yeah, I don't know how to. Now I will say, from a suspense point of view, it was pretty interesting to see that was Luke Harper's dad. I thought that was interesting. I'm not gonna completely hate on it, because it's surprising. No one expected that, and I'm okay with that. And I like surprises, because I'm sure a lot of us thought that was going to be somebody on the main roster. It wasn't Lashley, because Lashley, I think he's out with an arm or an elbow injury. So it wasn't going to be Bobby Lashley. Then, of course, Braun, he's in this tag team title storyline with Seth Rollins, which most likely will end up with those two facing each other at a pay-per-view for the belt. And it kind of reminds me of when Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold were tag team champions, at that little brief time, even though they were rivalries at the time. But, yeah, so it's kind of interesting, man. But I would have picked Luke Harper, definitely. Who do you all think? Who would you all pick in that situation? Who do you thought it was before we even knew? Who do you thought was the person that tried to run down Roman Reigns? Very interesting. And also, let's talk about NXT now. Well, actually, I did talk about NXT moving to the network, I believe. I mentioned it earlier in the show. But we should talk about it a little bit more because, hey, let's be honest, AEW is going to be on Wednesdays. NXT is going to be on Wednesdays. Now, you'll still be able to watch both. And I know that it seems like they're trying to get people to pick one. And it's kind of like the whole Monday Night Wars, but it's the Wednesday Night Wars in this regard. NXT has been putting out good quality TV. I ain't not gonna lie to you guys. NXT, whenever I've been able to catch it, they have been very captivating, with their storylines, with how they use certain characters. And while the 1 hour format on the WWE Network didn't allow us to see many different stars, it still kept storylines interesting and didn't give you everything all at once. And I'm pretty sure that 1 hour TV was easy for the writers to write, and do their job. So now with NXT being 2 hours, I think it'll be good for the wrestlers at NXT, especially all those people at the Performance Center. I can only imagine how big of a number there are, of wrestlers at that WWE Performance Center right now who are hoping to get called up to NXT. Not even the main roster, but hoping to get called up to NXT, I know a lot of people thinking, man, when is my time gonna come? And so hopefully with this 2 hour format on the USA Network for NXT, we'll see some people that we normally don't get to see. We get to see some talents that have something to show. And speaking of talents in NXT, a really great independent wrestler, Santana Garrett. She got signed to the WWE, and I would love to see her featured on NXT. But if it was me, I will put her on the main roster because Santana Garrett has been wrestling for a very long time, and for years, man, she's really been hustling and putting in the work on the independent scene. And I don't know if I will waste what's left of her best years in NXT. I would bring her straight to the main roster as a new talent, especially, to a brand like Raw or SmackDown. I would even put her on. I mean, either one of those are good, because you just with talents like that, you don't want them just over there in NXT. Not that NXT is bad or anything, but I feel like for people that aren't as established and that aren't known like that, yeah, that's good for them. But a talent like Santana Garrett should be on the main roster, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I'm happy to see her being signed by WWE, and I'm happy to see her on NXT or the main roster. But I was just sharing my opinions on that. But yeah, but the only thing that would probably hinder NXT on the USA Network is the 2 hour format. It might kind of become stale if it's not written right. And also you got to be careful about how you use certain talents on there too. it's got to be done really nicely. I think the 2 hour format is good enough. As long as they don't go to 3 hours, that's fine. I think 3 hours for a weekly wrestling program is not a good idea because you're gonna tire out your fans, and also you're going to burn out your writers too by having a 3 hour TV show. That's a lot of work to be doing. Pay-per-views is one thing, for 3 hours, but to have a 3 hour weekly television show is never a good idea, in my opinion. But I'm happy for NXT being on the WWE network. Well, not the network, but the USA network, and you can tell I'm very excited about all of this. I'm happy for all those men and women over there who've been putting in the work. Guys like Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. People like that. Shayna Baszler. Really great talents, and Io Shirai, who's really impressive to me right now. But I'm really gonna be curious to see how that all works out, and which show, AEW or NXT, because only the strong will survive, and right now we're currently in the honeymoon phase of AEW, and time will tell if they can keep that same hype, because we already know what NXT can bring to the table. We know they always knock it out of the park when given the opportunity. So I'm not even worried about that. As long as they keep the same writers, they keep the same drive and work ethic and passion, NXT will be fine. So, I think that's all for this episode. We went on a little bit longer than I normally do. And also, you guys, if you're still listening by any chance, I would like to know, would you all like for these episodes to be like a 10 or 11 minutes? Or do you like the long format of 30 minutes? I'm not going to go any longer than 30 minutes because that's just too much. And I know you guys, some people have things to do that. Some people have short attention spans. And I don't want to take that for granted. So let me know what you all think in the comment section below. I appreciate all of you for listening in on this episode of Beyond Wrestling, and stay tuned for episode 24. Hopefully, you guys want to send some questions in. I would do that. We can do a Q&A episode. I would love any ideas. I'm open to anything. And I think we'll do these episodes every Thursday. I'm doing it on a Friday because yesterday I was just not, my energy level wasn't where it needed to be to record this. So, yeah, every Thursday in the afternoon, we will have Beyond Wrestling, or whenever we get a chance to put them up on here. But much love to you all. Have a blessed weekend, and I will catch you whenever I upload another video. Make sure you have the notification bells checked. Check out the Teespring store, and we got some really, really cool things coming just for you. Until next time, this is Giorgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber, and I am out. Peace out, y'all.